It is nice to be with you on this fine Shabbat morning. Nice to be with you too. Okay, great. I'm happy we had this conversation like we usually do.
I think you should use that either for Friday night or Saturday morning. I don't.
You should not. You don't think because you're tired of hearing it for both of them? Yeah.
Yeah.
You're tired. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll use it for Friday
A
night.
little compassion for me.
I'll use it for Friday night.
Okay.
Okay. We'll skip it for Saturday mornings. Okay. Okay. All right. Well, we are here together. We are rapidly approaching the last Shabbatot in this year. One more. This one and one more. And then we are done with Shabbatot for this year.
Then we retire.
Then we retire. Then we take a nap for a month. Right? No, you don't have to. You don't have to. You sit wherever you want. There's a couple of seats left. So for you, there's just a couple of seats if you want to. We got a full house this morning here, and like there are 2 or 3 seats left. So if you're on your way, hurry, because there are only a few seats left in our sanctuary to join us this Shabbat morning. We are going to begin our service this morning on page 170 with a little Modeh Ani or Moda Ani, 170.
Modeh Ani lefanecha melech chai v'kayam shechezarta binishmati bechemla bechemla rabba emunatecha Modeh Ani lefanecha melech chai v'kayam shechezarta binishmati bechemla bechemla rabba emunate rabba emunatecha.
We continue now with Psukei de Zimra, with our morning section of Psalms to wake us up a little bit, page 183.
Baruch she'amar v'haya ha'olam, Baruch hu Oseh v'reshit, Baruch omer v'yoseh, Baruch gozer u'mkayim, Baruch merachem al ha'aretz, Baruch merachem al ha'briot, Baruch mishalem sachar tov li're'av, Baruch chai la'ad v'kayam la'netzach, Baruch podem atzil, Baruch shemo. Blessed is the one who spoke and the world came to be. Blessed is the one. Blessed is the one who continually authors creation. Blessed is the one whose word is deed. Blessed is the one who decrees and fulfills. Blessed is the one who's compassionate towards the world. Blessed is the one who's compassionate towards all creatures. Blessed is the one who rewards the reverent. Blessed is the one who exists for all time, ever enduring. Blessed is the one who redeems and saves. Blessed is God's name. Baruch atah Adonai, melech mehulal batishbachot.
We continue with Yishtabach 193.
Yishtabach shimcha la'ad malkeinu, ha'el ha'melech hagadol, ve'hagadosh b'shamayim u'ba'aretz, Baruch atah Adonai, El melech gadol batishbachot, El hahodaot, Adon haniflaot, Abocher b'shirei zimra, Melech elchei ha'olamim.
Continue Chatzi Kaddish 194.
Yitgadal ve'yitkadash shemei rabba, Be'olma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, B'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael Ba'agala uv'izman kari ve'imeru Amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mevorach. Le'olam lol mehal maya yitbarach. Yitbarach ve'ishtabach. V'yitpar v'yitroma v'yitnaseh. Ve'yithadar ve'yitale ve'yitalal. Shemei dekudesha berichu le'ela. Min kol merchata v'shirata. Tush bechata v'nechemata. Damiran be'olma ve'imeru. Amen.
We're actually going to skip the Baruch Hu because we don't have a minyan. So we don't have a minyan. So we are going to not do the Baruch Hu.
Although there is, technically, if we have 9 and the Torah's out, that could.
Yeah.
Some,
yeah, that's it. That's also not sure about that.
okay.
So,
All right.
yeah, so.
Wait, we counted creatures, but we had a hard time counting women?
So the Reform movement never had that
doesn't make
problem.
sense.
Doesn't make any sense. So we're going to skip the Baruch Hu, but it doesn't mean we don't have to do the Yotzer, which is thanking God for making day. So we're going to do our service, just a little altered here and there, a couple of little pieces here and there. So Baruch Atah, we're on page 195, by the way. We would be standing, but we are not going to. So we are going to just do, like I said, Yotzer, Baruch Atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Yotzer or v'oreh choshech, oseh shalom uvoreh et hakol. We thank God, the world in sunlight, restoring our soul, rejoicing the heart, bringing light to our eyes, more welcome than gold, a Torah from heaven. We continue now, 198 with Ahava Rabbah.
Ahava Rabbah Haftanu Adonai Eloheinu Chem Lagedol Avitera Chamalta Leinu Ba'avur Avoteinu Ve'imoteinu Shebatchu V'cha V'tamedeim Chukei Chaim V'ha'erenenu B'toratecha V'dabeik libeinu B'mitzvotecha V'yachel levavenu Le'ahava U'lira et shemecha V'lo nevosh V'lo nikalem V'lo nikashel Le'olam va'ed Ki v'shem kol shecha Hagadol ve'hanora b'hatachnu Nagila v'nismecha Bishuatecha Baruch atah Adonai Habocher be'amo Yisrael be'ahava.
Continue on page 200.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed
201.
V'yahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol meodecha v'hayu advarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha Uvelachtecha v'derech, uveshokbecha uvkumecha, ukshartam le'od ayadecha, vehayu letotafot beinenecha, uchtavtam על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל ואמרת עליהם, ועשו להם ציצית על כנפי בידיהם לדורותם ונתנו על ציצית הכנף בטיל תכלת, והיה לכם לציצית, וריתם אותו, וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני, ועשיתם אותם, ולא תטורו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם, אשר אתם זונים אחריהם, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
We continue now with our Song of Redemption, Mi Chamocha, page 204.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא, שירה חדשה שיבחו גאולים, לשמך אספת הים יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. צור ישראל קומה בעזרת ישראל, ופתחנו ממך יהודה וישראל. גואלנו אדוני צבאות שמו, קדוש ישראל, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
Continue with the Amidah, page 205.
אדוני שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah. האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מורין הטל. מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים. ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומיתו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישוע, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל.
Continue with the Kedusha, 208.
נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ, כבודו. אדיר אדירנו אדוני, אדוננו מאדיר שמך בכל הארץ. ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ורחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם. אלוהי ציון, לדור ודור, הללויה. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך. ולנצח נצחים, ולנצח נצחים, קדושתך נקדיש. בשבחך אלוהינו, מפינו לא ימוש, לא ימוש לעולם ועד. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
We continue silently now here, page 210 through page 219. When you're finished, please be seated.
Hachalti made Adonai. Hachalti otavakesh. Shivti, Shivti, Bevet Adonai. Shivti, Shivti, Kol Yemei Chayai, Lachazot Binoam Adonai. Uvalkeh Behechalot, Lachazot Binoam Adonai, to gaze upon the beauty of Adonai. One thing I ask you, Adonai, to be with you all of my life. Hachalti made Adonai. Hachalti otavakesh.
Thank you, Robin. Of course, those were the words of Psalm 27, Chacha'alti. Traditionally, we are supposed to recite that daily through the month of Elul. One thing I ask of God, only that do I seek, to live in the house of God all the days of my life, to gaze upon the beauty of God, and to frequent God's temple. The words that we say leading up to the Chagim, which are rapidly approaching for us. So thank you so much, Robin. We are going to continue with our Torah service. Isn't that right?
Yes.
Yes. 244. I mean, do you want to do something else right now?
You want me to go to Ein Elohenu?
Yeah. I know you want to. I know you want to go to Ein Elohenu, and then we can just go home and take a nap. Only because we'll be back. That's the thing. We'll be back in a couple hours. So, okay. All right. Well, let's settle. Let's move on with the Torah service. Great. 244 is where we continue.
Ein kamocha va'elohim Adonai, ve'ein kema'asecha, malchutecha malchut kol olamim, u'memshaltecha bechol dor v'ador. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed. Adonai oz le'amo yitein. Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. Al harachamim eitiva v'rtzoncha et Zion. Timneh chomot Yerushalayim ki vecha levad batachnu. Melech Elam benisa Adon olamim.
246.
Ki mitzion teitze Torah, ki mitzion teitze Torah, Udavar Adonai Mirushalayim
248.
Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah Le'amo Yisrael Bitu Shato
248, right in the middle there.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Kadosh Shemo Gadlul Adonai Tir Neramema Shemo Yachdav.
Please be seated. We are getting closer to the days, God willing, when we'll be able to actually walk around with the Torah, but not yet. Soon, soon. So we're going to transition now into a little bit of chatting about our Torah portion this morning. It is the Torah portion of Kitavo. It is in Deuteronomy, and we're going to chapter 26. So Deuteronomy 26 is where we're going. So my plan is to do two parts, like two sections today, but I don't know if we're going to get to the second part. So if we don't get to it, it's okay. But we're going to definitely do the first part that I planned, and then we'll do the second part next year. Because I don't think we're going to get to it. But so again, Deuteronomy 26. Pretty easy to find. No major verses. 26:1. That's where we're at. Let's do our blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. Okay, so last week we did kitetse, when you go out, and this week we do kitavo, when you enter, both reflecting on the land, obviously, the Israelites still standing in the sand, not even entered, but they're about to go. Deuteronomy 26, chapter 26, 26:1. Harry's having trouble with his pages, so he doesn't know what page, what his it says. I don't know what page it's on. He doesn't know what page it's on. I don't know what page it's on. I have a microphone. I'm going to speak louder than you while you're talking, so it's good. No, it's can't do it. All right, so usually Linda opens up our reading, but who would like to start to read for us? They have an excused absence. They mentioned it last week. They weren't going to be here, so please. It's. It's Deuteronomy 26:1 is where we're going. What page? Mine's on 429, so I don't know what you're talking about, but it's Deuteronomy 26:1. I have a bigger version. Yeah, I'm ready. Okay, thank you very much. Well done. So, what do we have going on here? Well, there. I mean, we've talked about it the whole time, right? So, are you saying it's not clear where the divine place is? Oh, why doesn't the text just say, I mean, literally like, you found it, right? Well, it's there. I mean, it's the spot. Don't forget they're nowhere yet. They're nowhere. First of all, they're nowhere, right? Second of all, we've been talking about where they're heading anyway, right? Well, for sure we entered the land, but maybe Susie's trying to see like, well, where in the land? Land's big. I mean, not that big, but big. Yeah, that's true. Well, they had the tabernacle, right? It was traveling with them. So supposedly where it was set down, that was the spot that eventually then turned into the temple. But they had a spot to do it. And they were saying, right, where I choose to establish, like when it happens. Yeah, Bob. Nice, excellent. So, for those of you on the live stream who might have not have heard that perhaps this is a structure for their worship or a structure for what they even do in instruction, because they were coming from a slave mentality. This is now certainly the new group from the slave mentality because it's the second round of them, but still they don't know necessarily what to do or how to do it, whatever kind of construct they're trying to create. Plus, they'll be surrounded by peoples who do not function this way. They function a completely different way. So there's all kinds of different components to give this little section of instructions on exactly what to do. Okay? Good. Did I paraphrase that well, or you want more? All right, good, thanks. Nice. Okay, excellent, right? If people are just left to do whatever they want, then they might do whatever they want, as opposed to saying, no, I want you to do it this way, right? There's a mechanism in which we follow. But it doesn't matter, by the way, Reform, Conservative, Orthodox, Reconstructionist, doesn't matter. The prayer book functions in the same structure. It doesn't change, right? Because otherwise we'd just be like, oh, let's do it here, let's do it there, or we'll do it this way. I mean, granted, each sort of denomination does its own nuance, but the structure is exactly the same no matter where you go. No matter, by the way, if you go to Venice, Italy, or you go to Paris, or you go to Israel, and you go and sit on Shabbat morning at a synagogue, it's going to be the same exact structure, right? They're going to be speaking in Italian or in Hebrew or in Spanish, but the other side's going to have Hebrew on it, and they're going to go in the same structure that you're supposed to go no matter what. So it does create a structure for us. Yeah, excellent. What else? What about the actual, like, dive deeply into the content? Like, what's actually happening in the content? Like, what's going on here? What's happening? So we're entering the land. Kitavo. There it is. What do you do starting in verse 2? Like, what is verse 2 starting to tell us? Okay. So now let's fast forward. So let's say we get in the land. Yay, here we are. Now what? What's that? Oh, now they have to go start working the land. Oh, nice. Okay, so good. So work on the land and don't take for granted that you have to give back. All right, so those are two very important pieces for this section, yeah? Okay, so that's nice. So by giving you the first fruit, you're confident to be a second fruit. I like that. I like that angle of it. Ken Muchnick said something else. You're giving the best of your crops. Good. Also good. Okay. Talk to me about this. Talk to me about, let's say that you finally get to a plot of land You finally show up. It's yours. Yay. You start to cultivate it. You bring in the ox. You bring in all the best tilling with the perfect rain season. You got everything right. All the crops grew. Everything is perfect. You got more than you thought you'd ever get. This is your first round of this dough. It's so great. And you think to yourself, you know, I spent a lot of money and energy putting this together. What I really should do is go and sell it all because I did this. Like, I did this, right? I mean, I've tilled the land. I put the seeds down. I got the rain timing right. These are all of the fruits or lemons or apples or whatever that I did. I did this, right? Is that right? Partially. What's the other side of it? All right. Essentially, what's telling us is, actually, you did none of this. You didn't do any of this stuff. I mean, yes, you worked the land, but okay, the ox that pulled your stuff, really, did you make the ox? No, right? Yeah? Nice. No, I'm saying that's perfect. Keep going. Yeah. All the ites. Yeah. Yeah. Nice. Okay. So good. So this is also it's this very nice moment also that you're not just tilling the fields for yourself, but you also have to take care of the Levites, for instance, who aren't doing it for you, who are taking care of other stuff for you. They're doing their job. You have to then provide for them. So that's a lovely sort of communal beginning for them also, to understand that where it's not just about me, it's about all of us. That what I'm going to do is going to be good for you, and what you're doing is going to be good for me. So there's a nice communal piece to it also. Right, and the Levites are never going to have any land. So they have to, they're survived by whatever is produced by the community that gives to them. Nice. Okay, that's really beautiful. Good. Why do you think, do you think it's easy or difficult to give those first round of fruits to the priest? Is it easy? Is it difficult? Does it matter? Is it not a big deal? Who cares? Yeah? Okay. 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 Nice. Okay, so you're saying there is a sacrifice, you're saying. Okay. Nice. Good. Yes. Okay. Nice. Okay, so there's also the other end of it that you can sort of boast and say, I did this. Here I am. I've established myself. Yeah. Yes. Uh-huh. Can you put the mask on for us? Yeah, thanks. Yeah. Okay. Oh, and not seeing sacrifice is negative. Okay, yeah.
So it's not an inherent action of humankind in general to like just sacrifice and give of your own work. And also we have a people here who were slaves in Egypt, wandered the desert, and are finally entering a land, and now they have something of their own, and then they're being told to give something up again. So it's just a complicated thing, not that it's negative or not, and I agree with both, that it's difficult and should be easy, but we have a people here who are, we know, are a bitter people, even though they were freed, and it's just hard.
Yeah, this is very difficult. It's very difficult to finally be given, like, okay, this is yours. You work at it, and when you're done working at it, it's not yours anymore. Give it to someone else. So, but yes, 10. Oh, no, I'm sorry. 613. Lots. Right, so that's why you don't have to do those anymore. We realize that you don't have to do the section of 613 that have to do with the temple, because there were so many that do the temple. Since the temple's gone, you're not obligated to do those. No, because there's no temple, so it's okay to not do those, because you just can't do them. But the ones that we should focus on, the ones that we are able to do, because there are a lot more that we're not doing as opposed to not able to do. Yeah. Yeah. Ken Ramashnik said, "Look at all the time we save now." How do the Orthodox look at what? The 613 you can't do? Yeah, this is why ultra Orthodox are praying and praying for a third temple, so that they can go back to fill in the other parts. For sure, that's why. There's a whole sect of people. You can go to Jerusalem and see there's a replica of the third temple. It's ready to go. They got the blueprints and everything. We're not going to have a job though if there's a third temple. So are you a Kohen? Yes. He'll have a job. I will not. So I will not have a job. Yeah. See, I will not. I will be a hot dog vendor around the temple. That's what I'll be doing. Yeah, which I've always wanted to do, by the way, be a hot dog vendor. So those of you watching on live stream for the first time who are turning into Congregation B'nai Israel are like, what are they talking about? I got to go to that Torah study. So I think that we're doing a great job on the conversation, because we're so communally focused that we're doing a great job. But I think what the text is trying to push at us is this idea that, and this is something, by the way, the Reform movement doesn't really do enough of, and that is remind us that none of this belongs to us. We don't. That's the thing. Like we're not good at that. We're not good at saying this, because we also like to look at a piece of text and find as much like good meat in there and connected to the community, and to find like all these beautiful ideas of the communal concept, which everyone talked about, is so lovely. But ultimately, I think what this text is telling us from a more traditional perspective is, hey, people, this doesn't belong to you. The ox that pulled your thing, you didn't make it, doesn't belong to you. The soil that you're tilling, you didn't make it, doesn't belong to you. The seeds you put down, where'd those seeds come from? Doesn't belong to you. The sun came up when it was supposed to, that doesn't belong to you. It rained when it was supposed to, you didn't make it rain. You didn't do any of those things. You literally did nothing. Sort of like the sandwich you bite into, none of that sandwich you made. Really, you put it together and you sliced it with a knife, but you didn't do the bread. Sorry, bread. You didn't do the bread. He doesn't eat bread. So, sorry. It's just not real bread. Whatever. So, we don't make the bread. We don't make the tomatoes. We don't make the lettuce. We don't make all those things. So I think that what the text is sort of saying to us is, it's painful, but on purpose, after you do all this, to then go and give it to the priest, because it's showing you and reminding us this doesn't belong to you. It belongs to God. It's a concept we don't talk about. It's not our big reform chat that we have, because we usually talk about the other end of this, the communal part, on this a beautiful idea that Waldorf and Statler said over there. You know who Waldorf and Statler are, by the way? You don't know who Waldorf and Statler are? It's the two Muppets in the balcony. So right, what's so good is that there's a communal piece to it. That's what you're both saying, right? They're learning, the community's figuring it out, that we're helping to sustain the Levites, that the Kohanim are part of it. Like, it's a beautiful thing. These are all beautiful things also, but ultimately the text is also showing us it doesn't belong to you. Kind of like what Ken Ramashnik was saying. about it's tough. It's tough to finally get freedom to say, okay, this is yours. Do what you want with it. And then at the end say, yeah, remember how we said it was yours? It's not really yours. You have to give it away. Yes. Yes. Okay. So, if you jump to 12, it's verse 12. We're still in the same chapter, so it's just a couple of verses down. Yeah. When you've set aside the full 10th part of your yield, what's that called, by the way? That has a name. What? Tithing. Ah, here is the tithing. So this is the birth of the Jewish version of tithing, which, by the way, we don't necessarily do anymore in Judaism. We have a tithing, but it's not a required tithing. There are other religions, by the way, that require us to tithe. What's that? We do have dues. We have a due structure, right? But for instance, the Mormons have a tithing system. What's that? There's a building fund. That's true. And right, that's good. That's nice. These are all parts, by the way, that were part of the temple. It all came from this Torah portion. The building fund and the security. Yeah. Well, that's true, right? So, but there are religions, by the way, that have a requirement to tithe, and that's like the Mormons, right? You're required to tithe. You're required to give a tenth. So, here's the question: what's the difference between tithing and a mitzvah? Mitzvah. First of all, let's define both. Then it's your turn. So, what's tithing? Who can define? What's tithing mean? It's an obligation to do what? You give 1/10 of whatever, right? Of your stuff. What's that? Okay. Well, probably the gross. All right. So, what's a mitzvah? Not necessarily. I mean, it is a good deed because it falls into the umbrella of good deeds. But truly, what's a mitzvah? It's a commandment. It's a commandment. So a mitzvah is a commandment. We're commanded to do things. That's a mitzvah. So, but what also is a tithe? So just keep that in mind. Yeah, what were we going to say? Hypothetically, they're both the same. How? Okay. Yes. I mean, they're in that obligatory window. Yes, they're the same. How are they then different? Is there a difference though between tithing and a mitzvah? So a mitzvah is a commandment. We're commanded to do things. When we sometimes say that a mitzvah is a good deed, it's because we're commanded to do good deeds. That's our job. You're supposed to do good things. Yes. Okay, right, but you still have to give a tenth. It doesn't matter what your income is. You can have a lot of money or a little money, you're still giving a tenth. Sure, of course. Yes?
Maybe tithing has solely to do with ownership of what you own versus a mitzvah, which is just an act that you want to do outward into the entire community or for your own personal growth, whatever it might be.
Nice. I think you have to say that louder. Can you do it on the mic? Yeah, what you said was very nice. So that everyone can hear, and then the people in the live stream.
I said maybe tithing has to do with things that you personally own that you have to give up versus a mitzvah, which is something that you're going to do outwardly to an entire community for your own personal growth. So maybe that's the difference between the two.
Yeah, Susie. Okay, it's a feeling more than you're saying a mitzvah is more of a feeling than an obligation. Okay, yeah. Yeah. So I mean, by definition, a mitzvah is a commandment. So it's not really an option. God is commanding us to do these things, whether we like it or not, by the way, hypothetically. But yeah.
Tithing is going directly to the priest, and mitzvot are communal to anybody.
Okay, so you're saying one's a little more specific and nuanced because the tithing goes in this idea to the priest, but the mitzvah, the commandment's a larger thing. Okay, yeah, yes. You're next, Harry. So that's very interesting. So, right, so there is, I'm terrible at math. However, math works really well because you can't argue math, right? You just can't argue it. Either it works like it works or it doesn't work. That means you're doing it wrong, right? So, I mean, which I know very well because I did it wrong for a long time. And now I have Siri to do my math for me. But tithing is 10%, so it's 10%. We're not playing with the 10%, right? But a commandment, by the way, if we bring Rambam into this, if you bring Maimonides into this, by the way, then a mitzvah then has nuances. Now, because Maimonides says a mitzvah is a mitzvah, so you're commanded to do it, meaning you have to do it. There's no question. But Maimonides then makes a rating of them. Meaning, do you do a mitzvah reluctantly, begrudgingly? Do you do a mitzvah only mildly begrudgingly? Do you do a mitzvah not begrudgingly? Do you do a mitzvah because you want to? Do you do a mitzvah that's going to take you out of the equation, right? Each time you go up a rung, he has like a ladder of them. If you go up a rung, and you're like, okay, so now, because a mitzvah also, a commandment, fulfilling it makes you feel good, right? But the next level means that you just give and you don't know where it goes. So it takes away your feeling out of it. Then the next level is that you give and you don't know where it goes and they don't know where it comes from. Because also when we give, we like to maybe see what our money is doing because it gives us a good feeling. So that's a lower level, right? So Maimonides comes in and helps us a little bit with explaining the nuance of the mitzvah and the tithing. Because the tithing, we're not playing around. It's 10%. So I make this much money, or I have this much crap, or I have this much whatever, blah, 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 that I'm taking. We're taking 10%. That's it. It says so. That's what the text says. I'm done. The mitzvah, though, again, but what does Maimonides say? And then Bob, Dr. Bob, it's you. Is that Maimonides says, though, even begrudgingly, you're still fulfilling the mitzvah. But now it becomes an internal play, and that's the part that is more complicated, right? Because if you see the person on the side of the road, on the road, who's with a sign that's asking you for something, you decide to give them something, money or a gift card or a basket of food or something, or whatever you're doing, you could roll the window down and say, "Oh my gosh, I feel so terribly. Here you go," or "Ugh, just get away from my car," right? But both of those, by the way, are fulfilling. You're doing the action. So Rambam would say you're doing it. You're doing it in an ugly way, or you're doing it in a pretty way, but you're still doing it. So that there's the nuance. Tithing, I suppose, could also be the same, but it doesn't make a difference. You still have to give 10%. You could still give it happily or begrudgingly, but the outcome is you just have to do it. Yeah, Dr. Bob. You're just disputing me or Rambam? The certainty of 10%? We are. Uh-huh. Absolutely. It's true. Okay. Maneuver around, you're saying. So you're saying even with the 10%, people can still play around with numbers. Okay. Yes? What's that? It's an aspect of the honor system. Yeah, because I don't know. I don't know what you're doing to, change the books or cook the books or change this or make it look like you're making less or more or give 10% or whatever. Yeah. Not you, Dr. Bob. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. So I think that's a beautiful point about. Yeah, you get a gold star. Do we have any gold stars for him? He says no. Okay, so all right. So I what's that? He says I'll give you 1/10 of one. So I love what you're saying, and that's the flip on this. I agree with you. I say, right, we are human, right? So we could go immediately to the, how do I do this in a way at the minimum level and get by with it, right? Or do I say, you know what? This is a lovely opportunity for me to do this with a full heart. I have a shot at this. I can say, I'm part of a community. I love giving 10% because I know by giving 10%, the Levites will eat. And I need the Levites to eat because the Levites are the one who schlep all the ritual items everywhere for us so that we can do everything else. So that's a beautiful way to look at it because that's the idea. And that's what God wants the Israelites to look at. Not the, I just grew these crops and now I worked and spent all my money and on these lemons that I grew and I have to give them all to the priests. No, that's not it. That's the, oh my gosh, I have land. It's my land. It grew stuff. It's amazing. Let me give it to the Levites and make the donation. And then, like you said when we started the conversation, next year, well, it's actually ultimately 4, which is what we'll talk about some other time. It doesn't say in this text, but ultimately it's 4 rounds of this. Then you get it. Then you get the crops. Yes. What's that? Yeah. I think that's debatable. And by the way, I think it's talked about not here in this text because this is the Torah doesn't go into these great details, but the Mishnah and the Talmud will get the nuance of what that looks like, what that tithing looks like, and then ultimately we're not obligated to tithe anymore. Right. Well, it's possible that from this Torah portion, governments came up with taxes, right? And that's kind of where we get that from. But so I think that we should end by by reflecting on that concept that this should be a beautiful thing. It should be a beautiful thing that we're doing. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. It also equalizes everybody, right? Because if you're very, very rich, it's 10%. If you're not very rich, it's 10%. Wow. We got to cutting people's heads off. That was good. No, I agree. That's the idea that Kenamashi just said, that this could be the origins of where this comes from, right? Of this idea of this taxation concept. Yeah. We got to finish. Yeah. Oh yeah, because there was a water supply. So yeah, absolutely. Because they were able to sustain themselves because you had enough water. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, exactly. It was given to you by God. None of this, right? Again, yes, there is a percentage where you have to work to make the actual wheat into a sandwich. Sorry again, but it's truly about where it comes from. We have to appreciate where it comes from. Absolutely. Now, what we don't have time to look at is to go back to some of the conversation that we were having about how do you know if it's the 10%? Who's playing with that 10%? Where can the nuances be that we're playing with these concepts? And there are some people who are maybe not doing it so legally, and people who are, right? So if you have a few minutes, it's not that much to read. It's just we're just don't have time. But if you want to read it, 27:16 through the end of the chapter. So 27:16 through the end of the chapter, it talks about all of the things that people are doing. And by the way, all of those things that people are doing, if you look at it very carefully, are the things that we do in secret. No one knows that you're doing them. And that's the problem, because that's what eats away at society. Because now I can play with that tithing. Now I can play with my commandment. Now I can decide that I'm not really fulfilling what I'm supposed to because I'm doing it in secret. And what does that do when I do it in secret? It slowly erodes the community. Even though you don't know I'm doing it, it slowly undermines the system that we're trying to create. And I think that's why it's in this Torah portion too. The tithing part is in the beginning, but that section starting there, if you look at each one of those, from, like I said, from 16 through the end of the chapter, it's all stuff you don't know about. You could be doing that and doing that and doing that, and your fellow and your friend and your community has no idea that you're doing it. And, oh, yes. Absolutely. Yes. I think that's a great question. I do think that's hypothetically something we also should be doing. It's sort of like It's the story of, the story of a teacher who took a white plate and drew a black dot in the center, right of a white plate, brought it to the classroom and asked the kids, what do you see? What did everyone say? Black dot. No one said a plate. Because your eye is drawn to the black dot as opposed to the idea that, oh, look, there's a whole plate there, right? So there's a nuance to the fact that we also aren't looking at the 90% or with 100% of things that are going really well, because we're sometimes only focused on the black dot and not on the whole white plate, right? So to sort of play on that. So that's a really great point. All right, so that's your homework, to look at verses 16 to the end of the chapter. We are going to hear some Torah chanted from the fine and excellent Cantor Muchnick. Isn't that correct? Yeah, you're going to go find him? You're going to go find the excellent Cantor Muchnick? Who would like to do the Aliyah this morning? Anyone want to do the Aliyah this morning? Anyone want to do the Aliyah this morning? Anyone? You'll do it? Great. That'll be fabulous. We're on page 250 in the Siddur. Are you chanting from the beginning, Cantor?
Yes.
Okay. So if you want to follow along with the chanting, then it's just chapter 26 in your Torah book. If you want to follow along with the blessings for the Torah, that's on page 250. What's your Hebrew name? תעמוד רבקה בת צבי ולאה לעלייה לתורה. ברוך אדוני ברוך לעולם ועד. אמן.
אמן. והיה כי תבוא אל הארץ אשר אדוני אלוהיך נותן לך נחלה ורשת וישבת בה ולקחת מראשית כל פרי האדמה אשר תביא מארצך אשר אדוני אלוהיך נותן לך ושמת בתנא והלכת אל המקום אשר יבחר אדוני אלוהיך לשכן שמו שם, ובאת אל הכהן אשר יהיה בימים ההם, ואמרת אליו, הגדתי היום אדוני אלוהיך, כי באתי אל הארץ אשר נשבע אדוני לאבותינו לתת לנו. ולקח הכהן התנא מידיך והניחו לפני מזבח אדוני אלוהיך.
Amen. Yesher koach, everybody. That was good. Yesher koach to all. Thank you for all the great insights and comments about the Torah portion. Still amidst our Torah service, we think of those who are in need of healing, a physical, emotional, or spiritual healing. If there is someone that you are thinking about and you would like to share their name, please share their name at this time. משבח אבותינו ואמותינו אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, שרה, רבקה, רחל ולאה, הוא ברך את החולים. הקדוש ברוך הוא ימלא רחמים עליהם, להחלימם ולפותם להחזיקם, וישלח להם מהרה רפואה שלמה מן השמיים, רפואת הנפש ורפואת הגוף השתה, בגלה במזמן קריב, ונאמר אמן. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Becca, Rachel, and Leah, Bless and heal those who are ill. May the Blessed Holy One be filled with compassion, for their health be restored and their strength be revived. May God swiftly send them a complete renewal of body and spirit, as together we say, Amen. We are going to conclude our Torah service, Etz Chaim 256.
כי לקח טוב נתתי לכם, תורתי אל תעזובו. עץ חיים היא למחזיקים בה, ותומכיה מאושר דרכיה, דרכי נועם בכל נתיבותיה. שלום השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה, חדש ימינו כקדם.
Tonight, 7 p.m. is our Slichot service in this very room, in this very space. We might, the two of us, might be just sitting in these chairs from now until then, just waiting for the service, because it's going to be right here in the same exact spot. If you can join us. We have challah. It's ready to go.
I can't eat.
It's fine. You can't eat it, but it's okay. What's that? What about Sukkot?
Slichot.
Slichot. Sukkot also, just not yet. Yeah, we have some stuff to do between now and then. I'd like it to be our Sukkot service.
I'd love for it to be
That
Sukkot
would be
right
amazing
now.
if it was Sukkot. That would be.
Oh, what a
That would
feeling.
be like Sukkot. That would be so good.
Simchas Torah right now.
Yeah.
Boom.
Oh, it'd be so good. It's so good.
That'd be great.
However, Slichot, that's at 7 p.m. And then our cycle for the rest of the week, the following week, is the same. We'll be back. Friday night services are at 6:15 next week, because it's the first Friday of the month. So 6:15 next Friday, right?
Right.
All right, good. And then we're back here at 8:30 for this service. And then there's Sunday.
Yes, sir?
And then there's Monday.
I don't think there's Sunday.
Yeah,
There's religious school on Sunday.
I think there's religious school on Sunday.
For Memorial Weekend?
I think so.
Really?
Maybe
Labor
not.
Day? Labor Day weekend?
Maybe not.
Let's go.
Maybe not. Okay, great. Oh, great. Okay,
I won't be here anyways.
great. And then there's going to be just something on Monday night. You should join us.
I'm not going to be here.
Erev
for
Rosh
that.
Hashanah. You are invited, yes. Invited tonight. We needed you to register, but it's fine. I mean, we know you. So, but you're welcome to come. Yes, at 7 o'clock. There's going to be a nice slichot service tonight, and then a little mini to-go oneg as you leave. So, of really yummy cookies that I ate most of them already. So, we better hurry, because I ate most of the cookies.
All week.
I did it all week. I ate all the cookies. So, Susie.
Rabbi and I already have Kol Nidre covered.
Yes,
So
we're
if somebody.
going to
if
be
other people
ushering
could-
during
yeah.
Kol Nidre.
Yeah.
So we'll be out I'll be out here walking around. So Susie, you're going to be up on the bima, right? You're going to be doing the service for Kol Nidre. You're going to be doing the service for Kol Nidre, and the two of us will be ushering. Great. Okay, it's perfect. All right, Aleinu 282. Yes.
Yes.
Together we stand. Aleinu 282.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגאור עלינו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
We turn our thoughts now to reciting Kaddish Tom, Mourner's Kaddish. We think of those in the period of Shiva, the immediate 7-day mourning period. Philip Dratler, Arnold Postilnik, Burton Stavitsky, Wendy Pastor. And in the period of Shloshim, the immediate 30-day mourning period, we think of Edwin Friedrich, Harriet Fertig. And yortzites that occur for us. On this Shabbat, Arthur Bierman, Sidney Berlin, Marilyn Bickler, Richard Blyer, Elsa Camus, Bertha Cohen, Enid de Mendoya, Mark Doobie, Geraldine Gershon, Charles Goldfarb, Murray Gordon, Lloyd Gottesman, Herb Graber, Alan Greenberg, Reggie Grossman, Lottie Haas, Saul Herschel, Nathan Honig, Barbara Kaplan, Betty Kaplan, Faye Klein, Joan Crane, Carol Lynette, Richard Loeb, Franz Lopez Gadia, Hank Lotman, Israel Sid Lukamnik, John Margolis, Deborah Nemhauser, Jerry Pollock, Lisa Pollock, Barbara Pressman, Philip Rosen, William Rosenberg, Benjamin Samet, Pauline Schwedelson, Rose Seltzer, Esther Shaw, Geraldine Spilkevitz, Gregory Vitterman, and Joyce Weissman. To those names, we had any name that you would like to add at this time. Kaddish Tom, Mourner's Kaddish, can be found on page 294. Itgadal v'itkadas shmei Rabbah,
Amen.
ba'alma divrach chiruteh ve'amlich malchuteh, b'chayechon v'yomechon v'chay dechol beit Israel, ba'gala v'zman kariv v'imru. Amen.
Amen.
Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam olmei almaya, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, יתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי קודשה בריחו, נעלה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. היי שלום רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן.
Amen.
May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel. As together we say,
Amen.
Amen. Please be seated. We are gonna. Do you want to end with Kiddush?
End with Kiddush?
You want to end with Kiddush, or do you want to sing something and then do Kiddush?
I was going to actually end with Pitchuli.
Nice. Let's end with Pitchuli.
Before Slichot.
Oh, that's nice.
So it's on 344, but it only has the first 2 lines of it. If you want to see the full 4 lines, it's on page 275. Pitchuli sharei tzedek avova modeya. Pitchuli sharei tzedek avova modeya. Ze ashar l'Adonai tzadikim tzadikim yavovo. Ze ashar l'Adonai tzadikim, tzadikim, yavo'u vo.
That was nice. You want to do, open the gates. You want to do Kiddush now? All right. Well, it's on page 300 if you want to follow along with us.
Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, lasot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, lasot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, oti leolam, v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, lasot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם. Ki sheishet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim et haaretz v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, lasot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם. Uvayom hashvi Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, lasot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם. Al Kain Berach Adonai Yom HaShabbat V'yikadshehu, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam, Borei Peri HaGafen. Amen.
Wearing a mask. And it's wrapped up. Well, let's just keep it wrapped up. Go ahead.
Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song to gather as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam, Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
May God give strength unto our people. Continue to bless us with hope and strength and love and peace. Shabbat shalom, everybody.